Hi, Facebook friends. Elisa Keaton, the founder of Revelation Wellness. This page here that you, I hope, come to, and it's a resource for you. I am here today to talk about this above. I think this is just practical information, good things to know. It doesn't even have to necessarily pertain to a fast. How about what to do when you're tempted? There's going to be some practical teaching here on many levels. Right now we are signing up. You have less than 36 hours to sign up for our 21-day sugar fast. Any donation amount gets you in. For 21 days, you receive daily teachings, spiritual and concrete science. We're talking nutritional science about things we need to know about sugar, not to become fearful. Good morning, hi, good afternoon, wherever you guys are. Thanks, Amanda. This is all good information to know. I'm telling you, not to mention a 21-day movement calendar that is conducive for being on a fast. That's actually going to be one thing I would going to say when you're tempted to quit. Go to the calendar and do a little bit of movement. The calendar is not HIIT training or not doing Tabata training because your body is in a resting, active resting phase. So you get 21 days of movement, menus, recipes. Hey, if you are in the fast, yep, Karen, say I'm in, or give me emoji, a high five emoji, something to let me know that you are in. I will give a couple seconds for people to come and hit the share button. Let's get this out into Facebook Landia for other people to find it. And this is good news. That's what I want to start with. This is good news. This is not a diet. This is a fast. Everyone say it with me. This is not a diet. This is a fast. Fasting is a place of humbling ourselves. And in humility, then God can build something in us, something that can stand the test of time for this year and going forward. If you have done any kind of fast before, then you probably have some spiritual discipline chops if you've done a sugar fast before. But here's what's true. You've never done it in a time like this. I don't know if y'all saw the news yesterday. I mean, you'd have to be under a rock to not know what is going on. What is going on? There is desires that go on within us that causes the quarrels among us. That's James 4:1. The desires within us cause the quarrels among us. And when fasting, we're submitting our desires. We are doing 2 Chronicles where we humble ourselves and seek God's face and pray, and He will hear from heaven. When we turn from our wickedness, we turn from ourselves to Him. We will be healed and our land will be healed. So I just, I don't want to set up like this, but I feel more passionate than ever. This is our delight to do. This is how we partner with God to bring about healing like we have never seen before, and not just for ourselves, because the gospel is not about us, it's for us. Put that in the chat. Someone tweet that out. The gospel is for me, but it is not about me. And it's that making it about us that causes the quarrels among us. And then we seek out desires that do not bring us wholeness and vitality and vibrance of life. It is comfort, pleasure in the moment, trying to live for ourselves. We weren't made to live for ourselves. As C.S. Lewis says, you do not have a soul, you are a soul. You have a body. And it is the spiritual side of you, the unseen side of you, that will last on and on into eternity. And so that's why we fast. You want to change your body, go on a diet. You want to change your soul, try a fast. And when you change your soul, then your body gets in line. It's the truth. We cannot solve a physical problem without a spiritual intervention. We cannot solve. Key word there is solve. You can mitigate a physical problem without a spiritual intervention. You can manage a physical problem without a spiritual intervention. You can keep tabs. You can try things and have some type of resolve, but you don't get resolution, lasting solution without a spiritual intervention, because it would be like training half of you. So this is why we do what we do here in Revelation Wellness. We keep this conversation alive to think bigger, go deeper, feel what you're feeling, but know what you know. So renew your mind to know what you need to know, because the feelings are going to come and go. Thick skin and soft hearts. If ever a time on the earth that we need thick skin and tender, teachable, submitting hearts, it's now. Okay, so let's jump into it. Everyone take a drink of water if you have it. Thank you. Share. I'm going to have a little drink. Actually, I'm doing throat coat because I'm going to be talking a lot in the next 48 hours. I don't want you to miss the signups. I don't want anyone to miss. So I'm going to do I'm not striving. I'm excited, and I want to continue to ring this bell for the fast so people know. And then I can sleep at night knowing I did my part. So throat coat. Everyone take a drink. Emily says, this will be very hard. Well, Emily, let's be careful. What we look for, we find, right? If we think it's going to be hard, it is going to be hard. So let's reframe that. I hear what you're saying. Yeah, I'm not pretending it isn't going to be uncomfortable, but if you think of what you think about, so you are. The Bible says, as a man thinks, so he is. If you think it's going to be hard, it will be hard. I ended last Tuesday's Facebook Live telling you guys the one thing we will not do. Does anyone remember what I said we will not do? The one thing you do not do on a fast, and that is to make provisions for the flesh. You don't make just-in-case plans, evacuation plan, just in case I have grace. I want you to go, if you follow me on Instagram or even here on Facebook, I have a personal page, a public page. I'm going to share a post later that I feel passionate about, kind of elaborating on you don't make provisions for the flesh. Grace is not for a just in case. If you put grace as a just in case, you are making provisions for the flesh. You are saying, well, just in case I'm weak, there's grace. That's not how grace works. Grace is active and alive. It is God's, what he does to meet our needs. That's grace. And it's in the moment. It's not in preparing. God tells us that he will meet all our needs. And that if we make plans, we can make plans, but it's God who directs our steps. So if you make a plan to fail or a plan for it to be hard or a plan, be careful. Some of you on Sunday night, I'm going to challenge you. Some of you are going to be tempted to eat your face off. You're going to be tempted to have the donut, have the cookie, have the gummy bears, have the extra creamer, have the whipped cream on top. I want you to just notice that. Because that is operating clearly in the flesh. There's fear. Fear, it's hoarding. Because this is my last night out and then tomorrow it'll be. No, just notice it, okay? And it's okay if you do, but I'm not asking you to make provision for that. I'm just saying, oh, you go, wow, look at me doing that again. Hey, God, I clearly need you. And everyone, when you're tempted to do whatever you don't want to do, let's all start right here. First thing you can do when things get hard, whether it's a fast or life. Ready? Here's your exercise. Inhale. Exhale. I'm not kidding. Like literally. That is neuroscience proven. When we take a deep breath, we turn on the vagus nerve. The vagus nerve is this long cranial nerve that we have from our spine that goes into our body and winds around the gut. And it's connected to anxiety and depression. Like if you are constantly anxious or depressed, your vagus nerve, the communication between your brain and your gut is so clogged and has no communication line that you cannot calm down. And if you can't calm and think from a reasonable place, you will not make a wise decision. So when we breathe, we're actually putting and bringing the spirit. Did you know the word spirit itself is pneuma? It means the breath, the wind. God has placed his spirit, his breath, his wind in us. So just breathe. It's like breathing prayer, right? God, I love how God doesn't complicate things. Like he says, hey, take a breath. Just take a breath. First thing you need to do. So that one is for free. Breathing, remembering to breathe. And that's why our 21-day workout calendar, movement calendar, we're going to teach you to breathe again. We are going to turn on all these things inside of you that you didn't even know God put in you to keep you in line with the spirit that is life and peace. We think it's try harder, do more, read more scripture, memorize more things, do. And actually there are things that are so subtle inside of us that we have never trained, and you're gonna learn to do that in the 21 days of movement. Okay, hit share. If you're loving this, hit share. This is good news for people to hear. All right, let me jump into my notes so I stay on track, because these are the practical things. We know, yes, a fast is going to have its challenging moments. That's the point. I've told you. This is, God set up a fast, so in the denial of our physical comfort, pleasure, and happy hormones released because we ate something or did something, we're kind of quieting that down, then we are going to use those cues for when we want to do what we want to do as the trigger to then do something new. So our hunger will serve us. You're not more holy because you have more hunger. We are not connecting food to morality. Stop that. No, we don't do that. But there's good things to know about food. But just because I eat meat and you don't, whatever, does not make me more holy than you. That is religious system. Those are formulas that the religious people of Jesus' day tried to live by. And that's why in Isaiah 58 about fasting, the Lord says, I don't like your fast. You're doing this fast to try and prove something. I don't want that fast. I want the fast that says, I need God, period. So, when you are fasting, the truth is, often, not always, but often, as you are, oops, I just lost my note. As you are going through this, doing something different, you're going to be changing your body chemistry, right? Because you're going to be eating a little bit differently. You're taking out an excess abundance of sugar. And I'm speaking specifically to sugar. Hey, you can do this 21-day fast on something else if you want. But I'm speaking specifically to sugar. Why? Because go watch all the other teachings in this page, what sugar is doing. Sugar disrupts our microbiome, the gut lining, all the ecosystem in our gut, and the brain and the gut can no longer talk. And that's why we have anxiety, depression, and all these types of mental distress, because our gut is trying to tell us something. We have fed it with over-processed foods, additives, things that we were never meant to have, but you are wise and you will know now how to live in this world and not be taken captive by all the things that have been created to hit your pleasure dome, to try and get you to just live in pleasure. That's not what we're here for. So we need to take a fast. The obvious one is sugar. It's still to this day, if you were to ask most doctors, most health professionals, what one person could do in their diet to improve their health and move towards well-being, they will say sugar. They will say lower your sugar intake, lower your processed food, which is another word for sugar. So there's obvious sugars like lollipops and candy and donuts, and then there's processed sugars, which basically, if it's anything that can sit on a shelf for a long amount of time, it's because it's been processed by a food industry to help make money. Money. It's always comes down to it. So we've got to be aware, be sober-minded. So when we go on a fast, you might expect the following. So take note. You might, don't plan for it, but you might feel sick. You might feel a little bit low energy, nauseous, something like that could happen. You could have anxious and racing thoughts or depression. I saw somebody in one of our community pages yesterday, they had started their own version of like cleaning up, eating kind of just better, this, doing what a lot of people are doing right now in the new year. The Christmas cookies are gone and they're doing the obvious thing of like, I just want to feel better and eat better. But they said, my anxiety and my anxiety is coming on really strong. Anxiety, any ideas? I said, I just went and made a commentary like, this is to be expected because you're breaking up. Remember we talked about lowering the inflammation in our gut and trying to settle back the microbiome. It's kind of triggering the thing you've been numbing. You've been numbing anxiety and depression with food. And now that it's not there anymore, it's just flaring up. So hang on. This is the whole point of a fast. See, you have an option. Don't do it, never do it, keep feeding it so you never have to feel it, or pull the Band-Aid off. Get back to the root system of why you do what you do. So you might experience depression, anxiety, an exasperation of the actual symptoms for why you're coming. Maybe your body aches might even go up. So here's what we know, and this has been endorsed by Dr. Gianna, who's going to be in with us in the challenge. Things tend to get worse to some level or some degree. Hey, if you were in last year's challenge, maybe you could say how it affected you. We had one gal named Ashley, who's on the team, and she's our social media gal. She had some rough days. We were praying for her. She's like, you guys, I am sick. But all that is showing is what we've been masking. That's all it does. And it awakened her to go, oh my gosh, I did not know. And it got worse, but then it got better. And she came through the other side and it was like, oh my word. The vibrancy, the energy, just the clarity, it's the shedding. It's the shedding away that physically can happen to us. And also spiritually, God is pulling back scales. So you would see and hear and know, and it would be this experience in heart, mind, soul, and strength of who he is as your Redeemer, as your Savior. Though you walk through the valley of the shadow of death, though you walk, and this is what's crazy about a fast, is you're saying, I am willing to walk. I'm going to sign myself up for that. Not to prove my holiness. That's called asceticism. We don't know, but because you have resisted, you have been staying out of the valley. You have been trying to not feel or be intentional with what you are thinking or doing. And that's what a fast allows you to do. So things may get worse before they get better. But hear me. Name it Jesus. I want to pray. Don't expect them to get worse. What you look for, you find. Just be in the moment. There are people who have done the fast who did not have terrible symptoms. So choose, right? Don't plan for it to be terrible. It will be terrible. Okay. No, it didn't start. No, you're not. It doesn't start till Monday. The fast starts on Monday. I'm just giving you some front load. I'm preparing your mind for action so that when this happens or could happen, you're like, oh, Elisa talked about this. Let me go get that Facebook Live. You're taking notes. So these things you could experience. We call that also, Jana calls it die-off. It's called die-off. The overgrowth of bad bacteria in your gut is starting to die off because all sugar does is continue to disrupt that bacteria and grow the bad bacteria, which feeds our anxiousness, our depression, our emotional instability, and why we choose food and things we don't want to do. So die-off starts to happen. And then that's just part of death. John 12:24 says, unless a seed goes into the ground and dies, it cannot bear life. So there's a death. Jesus, 3 days in the grave. Well, not in the grave, but 3 days contending against hell, killing, contending for sickness, disease for us, so that resurrection life could come. Yes. Yay! Shelly said she did the fast before and felt awesome afterwards. Yeah, it's worth it. And the good news is you're in community together. Now, let me move to spiritually what you're going to do. When you're in the fast and you feel like quitting, here are the spiritual tools I want you to remember. First thing is be in the Word. Go back to your daily devotional. Go back to maybe that daily devotional that day. Go back to the Word. Maybe you screenshot this verse of the day, the devotion. Get it ready, right? Our phones are like our guns. We're slinging them right all the time. They're always in our hand. Put it right there. Get the Word in front of you. Remember the devotion. Write the Word down. That's why we're offering these food journals to you, right? This is going to be we're going to give you the template of this, but if you want to go get this on Amazon, this will give you the space. Write the verse down and to kind of work through what you are feeling each day, because you will be eating, you will have food, and you're going to need to want to figure out what is making you feel good, bad, or indifferent. I want to say something too. Back to like physical things you might feel. Even for myself, I'm not in the fast. I'll start on Monday with all of you. There's some things that I will be doing differently. But even just as the new year came, I started to eat a little more fiber. I was needing more fiber. And I noticed I was getting so gassy. So gassy. So I want to say that could happen When that happens, I'll jump ahead, water. You need more water, and you might need to pull back on any of the, if you're doing the fast and having quinoa or grains, if you are in that category of keeping some grains, whole grains in your meal. So just be aware, like I'm like, oh yeah, but over a few days, it gets a little bit better, and drinking water is a big deal. So when you are spiritual, when you're fasting and you are coming against it, first thing is to get spiritual. Don't get physical, get spiritual, because remember, you're in a fast, not a diet. Be in the Word, know the Word right in front of you, breathe. I talked about breathing. That might sound like a physical thing to do, but it's more spiritual than physical. Breathe. Your accountability partner in the group. We're going to encourage you to try and find someone to be accountable with you. Don't be a lone ranger. If you're a lone ranger, you'll come and you'll go. Find someone else to be in this fast with. Bring a friend into the fast. Okay? I missed what someone had a question. I'll come back. Accountability. The other thing, that's why we have instructors. We are sending you information for you to find an instructor to be in their group. So go back in the community page. You can find someone there. We're going to be sending links to help you find an instructor that is hosting virtual, since we can't meet in person. Get into an instructor's group. I mean, that is going to be huge. These are instructors who are anointed. The Lord has called them to spearhead and walk this path so other people would have a path to follow. So community is a big deal. All right, and then finally, this is probably the most powerful thing. I talked about the Word. The other thing, partnered in a fast, not only the Word, but what? Prayer. When you're tempted and you feel poopy and you want to quit, that is the time. Say a prayer. And it can be as simple as this prayer. This was our favorite prayer last year, and I think it just is our sugar fast prayer. Ready? Inhale. Exhale. Lord, bind my flesh. That's it. That's Jana's prayer. Lord, bind my flesh. Because our flesh is yappy and loud and telling us, this, you feel terrible. This is terrible. Quit. Remember, there is a spirit. The flesh is opposed to the spirit, and the spirit opposed to the flesh. That's Galatians 5. So when the flesh seems to be winning, take a breath. Pray. Exhale. Lord, bind my flesh. Bind it. Another prayer that I love is I inhale. This is my prayer. I inhale, my body is for the Lord, and exhale, the Lord is for my body. Inhale, my body is for the Lord. Exhale, and the Lord is for my body. I actually start a lot of the days I don't want to work out, and I'm like, oh, I'm tempted to not. I just get my shoes on and I begin to pray. And listen, there's some days I'm just not supposed to work out. But when it's a day I know I'm getting a little lazy, I just don't want to because it's just, bleh, I know I need to. And then I will just inhale. My body is for the Lord. Exhale, the Lord is for my body. And then just begin to move a little bit. Gentle. All right. Those are some things that you can, I'm sure we can come up with other things, but those are the big ones that we would say. The Word, prayer, community, go back to your devotionals, breathe, and remember why God called you here. Now, physically, you can marry that spiritual stuff with these physical things. I already told you guys, water. Let's take a drink again, shall we? Water. Water. I was reading last night about water. And y'all, it is like so overlooked. And it is like what gasoline is to your car. And maybe even more so, what the oil in the engine of your car is. I would say calories are like the gasoline. The oil is like water. If you don't put the water in, everything starts to burn up. And you get more inflammation. And you get more gastrointestinal distress, dysbiosis, things not happening the way they should. Water is the universal solvent. You are 63% water. Your brain is 73% water. So when you're feeling this anxiousness or don't want to, the water itself, it could just be back to, remember I told you the woman who's like taking sugar out, she's like, now I feel really anxious. Take some water, stay well hydrated, and also because of the extra fiber you're going to be getting, it'll help to keep it so you're not so noisy, if you know what I mean. Gail asked, how much water should we be having every day? Half your body weight in ounces. It's still a good rule. So what you can be doing now is preparing. I told you guys that on Monday, or last time we talked, is just start drinking a little more water. Because don't start slamming it and then your bladder hurts and then you're miserable. But yeah, half your body weight in ounces, just start working on it. I find that's a habit you have to stack. And what I mean by stack the habit is connected to something else you already know you do. So for me, I always have a water bottle right by my computer when I'm working. And then I know when I transition out to the next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to drink water. Or when I open up my laptop, I'm going to drink some water. In the morning, first thing I do. By the way, that's the study. They're saying people that have about 10 to 16 ounces of water in the morning, their metabolism burns better. They tend to be better with weight loss and fat loss because it's just, you've been all night sleeping in expiring air. And by the way, did you know that's where fat loss goes? Did you know, like people are like, where does the fat go? 85% of fat, it comes out through your breath. Back to breathing. Losing weight you don't need to lose, but we do lose a lot of what we need, so you got to put it back in with some water. Okay, I just gave that to you for free. I need to stay on track. Water intake, you want to increase. Increase your vegetable intake for some of you. If you're not real tooty and bloaty, then get some more vegetables in. That Jan was saying, increase that. The other thing is you're going to receive a recipe for detox lemonade. That has been a huge help for a lot of people who were feeling headaches, feeling low energy, just feeling terrible. We will give you the recipe for the detox lemonade. The key ingredient there is apple cider vinegar, which by the way is right here in my throat coat. Just a little bit of apple cider vinegar. What is it about apple cider vinegar that makes it so special? Well, it is a probiotic and a prebiotic. So it has some of these properties to help build up the healthy gut or healthy bacteria in your gut and help kind of calm any of the raging symptoms that you might have. So you can do the detox lemonade or just have a tablespoon of apple cider vinegar a day. If you don't do the detox lemonade, just try a tablespoon of apple cider vinegar a day and take it with food. And if you tolerate that, you can keep adding a little bit more, up to a half a cup a day. This is straight out from Dr. Gianna told me this. Or you might just do 2 to 3 teaspoons with every meal. So apple cider vinegar. Okay, great. Awesome. Oh yeah, that's fun. Let's try and delete this guy from being here. I don't know if I can right now. We'll take care of it. Ignore. Bless and block. We love you. Salespeople, go away. Okay. 2 to 3 teaspoons with every meal. So apple cider vinegar, it helps the liver out. Your liver is going to be your liver is your filter of your body. It's going to be doing a lot of work. Oh, it's time for me to end this teaching. Your liver's going to be doing a lot of work. So it needs help. It needs help, and that's what apple cider vinegar can do. It will also help you poop better. So there we go. If you struggle with reflux, Deborah, I would start with small amounts and even start with the apple cider vinegar and start with the detox lemonade and do a smaller amount and see. I won't know until you know and you try. And that's where the food journal comes in handy because you can make note of what you ate. Some of you are going to try foods you haven't had before. And you need to go, how did I feel? Did I like that? Did it make me gassy? Did it seem to be a very satisfying food? And you can then start to build your repertoire. Okay, awesome. Oh, hey, no. Phone call. If you get constipated and it becomes painful, try a natural laxative tea. Some people, okay, remember, this is all gonna happen, the gut, when we take out the sugar, the gut gets a chance to reestablish homeostasis, and some things get worse before they get better. Some of you who don't poop, it could get even worse. Use a tea, a laxative tea, try that, see how it works. And some of you, it might get really runny. I get really runny. So go back to the apple cider vinegar and detox. Better poops means you're feeling better. Once the poop gets better, then you're feeling better. And I leave you with this: water, water, water. Don't be dumb. You don't need more than half your body weight, but you'd be surprised what staying hydrated can do to help your fasting. Okay? James 4:7. Remember, I started with James 4:1 that says, what causes the quarrels among you? Is it not the desires within you? We could maybe say the reverse. This desire within me, what's going on in my gut, how I'm relating to food and everything around me is actually affecting my relationships with others. I am irritable. I have no energy. I can't participate in life the way I want to. But those desires within us and how we participate in the world can heal. And in James 4:7, James says, submit yourselves then to God. In light of these quarrels that can happen, in light of this tension that you find yourself in, submit yourselves then to God. Resist the devil and he will flee from you. This is the beauty of a fast. That's the beauty of a fast. That's what a diet's not going to give you. No diet book have I read saying, hey, and then you're going to submit to God and resist the devil and he will flee. And I would even think, even if there was like a Christian diet book that does that, it has to be real careful about just slapping that verse on a diet. It starts with a fast. My book, The Wellness Revelation, that's why in there there's an invitation before we start trying new foods or something. It's just to try a fast. Maybe you suggested 1-day fast or fasting from something. It's dealing with that tension of, I really want what I want. That has to be dealt with. That's a root of something that has to constantly be uprooted for good health. All right, friends, Not Your Average Food Journal. You can get that on Amazon, $12. And this is also a nice, fun one, Move in Love. This is more of a journal for wellness in everyday life, having a plan for your day, how you will live it out, heart, soul, mind, and strength, what you will need. But I would say this right now, if you don't have anything, try working with this, because this will be useful during the fast. When you come out of the fast, our wellness journal could be a fabulous tool. All right. I now leave myself for questions. Any questions? When does sign-ups close, everyone? Everyone remember? When do sign-ups close? Tomorrow at 11:59 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I do not want you to miss. Everyone, ignore, bless, and block. What to do while breastfeeding. Right now, Jana is pregnant. And so breastfeeding people, you definitely want to keep more grains, whole grains, quinoa, maybe sweet potatoes in your diet. You're going to want to keep your milk up. So that's the other thing. You guys just, again, everyone can be involved in this. Everyone. This is not exclusive for the Olympics of sugar fasting, and only the best can be here. Everyone can fast in some fashion or form from the food that feels comforting. Okay, any other questions? I think how different? Okay, yes, great. Move, blah, blah, blah. Hold on, sorry. Yep, great. You guys can come and do these teachings. You know all the stuff now. Some of you have been in almost all these teachings. Can you talk more about liver and detox? I've had issues with liver enzymes in the past and want to be wise about being kind to my liver. Yeah, Lindsay, let's talk about that with Dr. Jana. I will leave that to her. She will, every week you're going to be invited to a Zoom call with Jana and I. If you can't make it live, we'll send you the link. But you come and ask questions. And I'd rather leave that to her because I'm sure she will give you a much more robust reply. But all I know and I can tell you is that the liver gets overworked, pooped out, and that's what fasting and these types of taking breaks can do to help it reset. But there is support. Sometimes our liver does need support. So we'll ask that of Dr. Jana. Are you to give up coffee? I don't know. Are you? We encourage you to consider it. It's not one of those, I can't remember if it's a hard no. There are no hard no's. This is why this is not like we're not telling you how to eat. We're telling you to consider these are the things that can disrupt your gut. And coffee can be one of them. I would say if you have to ask the question because you know you need it, it might be something you need to fast. That's all I'll say. Whoops. Let me see. Diet soda. Yeah, it's not going to be what we would say here for gut healing. You'd want to take it out. But I'll leave that between you and the Lord. You're not disqualified, but I'll leave that to, and always go back to, I always am fascinated that if we have to ask the question, what about this? It could be the thing that might be God's going, we want to do that? And everyone repeat after me. God is not going to love me more for doing this fast or love me less because I don't do the fast. He loves you. But he has a word for you. He has intimacy for you that you won't know unless we soften our grip on some things. The Zoom calls will be every Tuesday at 11 a.m. The same time I started this one, 11 a.m. Mountain Standard Time, so 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Yeah, do oats mess up my gut? I don't know, Joy. Do they mess up your gut? I don't know. For some people, maybe. That's what our food journal is for. It can. Anything in abundance, anything that we have too much of, can mess up a good thing. And when a good thing becomes a God thing, it boomerangs. Here's what we know more and more about healthy microbiome. And when I talk about microbiome, I'm talking about the ecosystem in our gut that sugar disrupts. Sugar disrupts a healthy ecosystem to kill off bad bacteria and to grow good bacteria. Sugar can disrupt that. Here's what we know to have healthy microbiome, it's in diversity. Having a diversity of food in your diet, eating different things, being aware what's seasonal, what's out of seasonal. And listen, that's a work for me. Because I like to just eat what I eat. Why? Because it's convenient. I don't have to think. But it's also not the wisest thing. That's why there's seasons and changes. If we didn't live in the mass manufactured world we live in now for food, we would eat seasonal. We would eat different from winter, spring, summer, and fall. We would live off land and eat very differently. But because everything's available to us all the time, this goes back to 1 Corinthians 6:12. Although everything is available and permissible for me, not everything's beneficial. So we have to know what's mastering us. What's the thing that we feel we can't live without? I love that. Susan has a great, God spoke to her last year. Close your eyes and ears. Yep, he will. He absolutely will. This is a promise of his word. It tells us when we fast, when we seek his face, we will hear from him. Okay, I'm out of here. I'm going to take a breath. And then I'm going to head over to, I think, to Instagram. Because why not? Why? Because again, I'm going to do my due diligence to make sure everyone gets in. All right, one last time. If you haven't shared this podcast, share this podcast. If you haven't shared this Facebook Live, would you hit it right now and leave? Or how about this? Tag a friend in here. Call someone out. Call someone up. Not out. Call them up. Grab them by the hand. Say, I'm going to need you, friend. Let's do this together. Don't make provisions for your flesh. Don't expect to fail. Don't expect to nail it. Just expect that God is calling you to it. He sees you through it, period. Yeah. Carrots, tomato, beets, and squash are okay. Can you share a little more? If Jana was here, she would, because Jana's the functional nutritionist. Yeah, but I think it's a matter of sugar in other foods that we know can be. Here's the thing, everyone. You might do another sugar fast where it says no to this and no to that. You get to do what you want. Carrie, if you're like, I don't want it, I feel like carrots just feel really sweet to me, don't do them then. Don't do them. Like this, this is why food gets so tricky, because people really want definites, and I don't like definites, but I do want to do our best to help you and always have gracious assumptions. Okay. Amen, amen, amen. All right. You guys have a great Thursday. I'll see you tomorrow. Tomorrow I will come back one more time and we will talk one more time about things called fasting. The thing called fasting. All right. Talk to you later. Have a good day. Peace.